Welcome everyone back to John S. Battle High School, where the second game of tonight's action is about to begin between the Gate City Blue Devils and the John Battle Trojans. And we're going to have the starting lineups now for each team. But first we're going to have the national anthem.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Lord, thank you for all the players, coaches, and fans. Let us all remember that performing to our best ability is the main goal tonight, while making it as a consequence. In your name we pray. Amen.
And the playing of our national anthem. We're just about set for action here at John S. Battle High School between the number 3 ranked Gate City Blue Devils in the state of Virginia and John S. Battle High School. First for the Gate City Blue Devils, number 32, Jason Hensley. Number 12, Arthur Ferguson. At center, 6'9", Chris the Animal Shelton. Number 50, a junior, Rusty Pendleton. And Kevin Moose Morris playing in tonight's action after being injured last week. Cannot stay away from this basketball. The young man loves it. Good to have him back on the court tonight. Now for the homestanding John Battle Trojans. McCall, number 42, Matt McCall. Number 12, John Bowman. At center, number 14, Mike Johnson. Number 10, Teddy Gibson. And the other forward, Sean Pritchard, number 30. And there you'll have the starting lineups for tonight's ball game. And we're just seconds away from action. Gate City, as we said, the number 3 ranked team in the state of Virginia in Group AA, behind Brunswick and Tab. And they're already the number 1 team in Southwest Virginia with a unblemished 10-0 ledger. Both teams now coming onto the court, getting set for action. Big Chris Sheldon jumping against number 14, Johnson of John Battle. The toss is up, and Chris Shelton taps it back to Jason Hensley. Hensley will set up the offense now for Gate City. Looks like John Battle setting up in a 2-3 zone. Hensley in the corner for Ferguson. Ferguson back on top to Hensley, looking inside, drives, Passes for Pendleton. Pendleton up. Reverse layup is good. So Gate City up 2-0 early in the contest. Number 12, Bowman, bringing it up court now for John Battle. Almost lost control of it. Passes back to Pritchard across the timeline to Bowen. Bowman working against Ferguson. Passes to Pritchard. Pritchard out on top to number 10, Gibson. Over to number 12 to number 42. Gibson looking inside. Passes back to Pritchard. Pritchard gives to number 42. Inside for number 10, Gibson. The shot is off. Rebounded by Hensley. Hensley quickly to Ferguson. Ferguson 2-on-3 break. Pulls up for the jumper. No good. Rebound pulled out there by number 14, Johnson of John Battle. Number 12, Bowman works the ball up court now for the Trojans. Gate City up 2-0. Number 42 with the basketball now, McCall. McCall needing some help, finds Gibson. Gibson for number 12, Bowman. And he was out of bounds, and they're giving it to Gate City. So number 30, Pritchard, will inbound the ball for the Trojans. Inbounds to number 12, Bowman. Bowman needs some help. Dribbles between the double team. Takes a shot up. High, no good. Rebounded by Moose Morris. Morris will bring the ball up court himself. Gives his teammates enough time to get back and set up. Pulls up from the foul line. The jumper is short. And the ball is finally picked up by Johnson of John Battle. Bowman will control the basketball now for the Trojans, working it up court. 6:15 remaining here in the first quarter of action from John Battle. Bowman passes to Johnson. Johnson needing help. Finds Bowman, guarded closely by Ferguson. Puts a move on, passes over on the right wing to number 42, McCall. McCall to Gibson. Gibson guarded closely by Hensley. Devils working hard on defense. Johnson in the lane, nowhere to go against the animal. Good defense by Gate City. And number 12, Bowman says, let's back it up, fellas, and start again. Number 42, McCall, looking inside. Back on top to Gibson. Inside to Bowman. Back on top of the key to Pritchard. Pritchard from the foul line. No good, and the animal skies for the rebound. Morris on a one-on-none breakaway, up and in for two. Gate City now increasing the lead to 4-0. Pritchard with a basketball for John Battle over to Gibson. Now giving off to Bowman. Gate City on semi-press. The ball is tipped loose by Ferguson, out of bounds to John Battle. Pritchard will trigger the ball in now for the Trojans. Brings it into number 12, Bowman. Bowman loses it out of bounds to Gate City. All right, the Blue Devils with the basketball now. Pendleton triggers into Ferguson. Ferguson to Morris. Setting up the offense. Drives, pulls up for the 8-footer. In and out, tough break. Rebounded by Animal Shelton. Up, no good. Pendleton with a tip, no good. Shelton on the rebound, back up, and he will draw the foul. And let's see who they're going to get. It looks like number 12 will pick up the foul. That will be the first personal on Bowman. And Chris Shelton will be at the line shooting two. Shelton eyes the mark, shoots, and converts the first foul shot. Increases the lead to 5, 5-0. 4:50 remaining first quarter. Second shot up by Shelton is also good. So Gate City increasing their lead to 6. Pritchard inbounds to number 12, Bowman. Back over to Pritchard. Bowman, the floor general for the Trojans, works across the timeline, passes over to Pritchard. Back to Bowman as John Battle will be very patient here trying to get the good shot. Pritchard on the left wing, guarded closely by Pendleton. To the top of the key to number 10, Gibson. The ball is knocked loose there momentarily by Ferguson. McCall passes for Gibson. Gibson drives, shoots. No good. The ball is loose, picked up by Ferguson of Gate City. Ferguson quickly across the timeline, passes over to Hensley. Hensley drives, shoots. No good, and there will be a foul called on number 10 of John Battle. That is Gibson. Hensley will be at the line to shoot two. very balanced scoring here so far, and we have a timeout on the floor. And while we have a timeout, we will take a short break. You are watching Scott County Cablevision TV 30. Folks at Bud's, a 7-2 advantage over the Trojans and a 6-0 lead on the scoreboard. Hensley to shoot 2 shots here for the Gate City. Shot is up and rolls in for Jason. Hensley, second shot is up and it rolls good also. So the Devils increase the lead to 8-0. Bowman working against Ferguson. Gate City in a man-to-man press. 12 against 12 as Bowman breaks the timeline over to Pritchard. Pritchard back to Bowman. Bowman going to be double team, finds Pritchard. Pritchard inside to number 14, and Pendleton comes from nowhere and gets a hand on the ball and will draw the foul. That will send number 14, Johnson, to the line to shoot 2. Johnson's first shot is up and no good. So Gate City still pitching a shutout game here so far. Second shot is up and that will give the Trojans 1. 8-1 the score. Ferguson passes to Morris. Morris back over to Ferguson. Ferguson looking on the right wing to Hensley. Hensley passes back to Ferguson. Lobs inside for Shelton. Shelton, strong move up and in for 2. The lead now 10-1. Bowman gives to Pritchard. Pritchard picks up his dribble, passes back to Bowman. Bowman across the timeline, thrown away, and we will have a foul called on number 12, I do believe. And that will be Bowman's second personal. Ferguson triggers the ball inbounds to Jason Hensley. Hensley for Morris outside the 3. The shot is up and hits the top of the backboard out of bounds to John Battle. Pritchard will trigger the ball inbounds now to Bowman. Bowman back over to Pritchard. Pendleton picking him up. Pritchard drives across the timeline, pulls it up, waits for Bowman to come across. Bowman setting the offense. Gate City in a man-to-man defense. McCall on the top of the key to Gibson, lobbing down on the left wing for Bowman inside to McCall. And McCall tried a blind pass, saved by number 10 Gibson, and Hensley comes up with it across the timeline. Hensley drives the middle of the lane, pulls up from the foul line. The shot is up, no good. Shelton with the rebound, back up and in. So Chris Shelton with some very impressive strong moves on the inside gives Gate City an 11-point lead, 12-1. Pritchard gives over to Bowman. Bowman brings it across the timeline, drives the lane, passes off to Gibson. Shot is blocked by Chris Shelton, out of bounds to the Trojans. The ball comes into number 14, and that will be swatted out by Hensley. And they say that Hensley got a piece of the wrist. So that will put number 14, Johnson, at the line, shooting 2. Chris Shelton averaging 14 points a game and 7 block shots and 13 rebounds. So the young man is really playing some good defense and offense for Gate City this year, as the first shot by Johnson is missed. 2:25 remain here in the first quarter. Second shot is up, no good. Shelton with another rebound. Morris working against McCall. The jumper by Morris is good, as Gate City just continually to mount their lead. The score now 14-1. McCall, as Shelton met McCall across the timeline, held the ball and passes back to Bowman. Bowman working against Ferguson. Passes to McCall. Out to Johnson at the foul line. The shot is up and good for Johnson. Pendleton inbounds the ball to Ferguson. Across the timeline, the Devils now setting up their offense. Lob in for Shelton. Shelton inside shoots. No whistle called, and Morris comes up with the rebound. Morris works, puts up the jumper. No good. The tip is up. No good. Pendleton muscling in. The shot is up. No good. Rebounded by Pritchard of John S. Battle. So Gage City hitting the offensive boards real effectively, but to no avail as they couldn't put the ball back through the hoop. Bowman will be met by Ferguson at the top of the key. Inside to McCall. Back out to Bowman. 1:12 remain first quarter. Gage City up 14-3. Pritchard inside to McCall. The shot is up. No good. Tipped up and in by number 12, Bowman. Ferguson brings it into Hensley for Gage City across the timeline. Gage City over to Morris. Back to Hensley to the top of the key to Ferguson. Looking inside for Shelton. Passes over to Morris outside the three. The shot up. Bottom. Moose Morris. 17-5. Bowman across the timeline to McCall. Ferguson steals it away on a good hustle there. And the ball will be maintained by John Battle, but Arthur Ferguson came from half court and stole the ball away from the driving Bowman. Pritchard into Bowman from three. He thought about it. It's going to hold up. Gage City crowd riding the young man a little bit. Bowman will set up probably for the last shot for John Battle. McCall over to Johnson at the foul line to Gibson over to Bowman on the left wing. To the top of the key to Pritchard. Pritchard over to Bowman. Bowman from three this time. No good. Pendleton with a rebound. Quick outlet to Morris. Morris has Hensley with him. Takes it up and in for two. 19-5, the score here at the end of the first quarter of action. We're going to take a 1-minute break. We will be back by telling you you're watching Scott County Cablevision TV. And we're back here at John S. Battle. We're at the end of one quarter. Gage City up by 14, 19-5. In the first quarter, Shelton had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 1 block shot. And Moose Morris picking up where he left off with 9 points. The ball will come into Bowman. Bowman will work it across the timeline. Pendleton comes out the medium, pass goes over to Gibson, back to Bowman. John Battle looks like they're going to go to a semi-stall. McCall on the right wing, passes stop the key to Gibson over to Bowman. Bowman to Pritchard. Pritchard over to Gibson. John Battle just cannot find the shot. As Gibson having a hard time finally finds Pritchard. Pritchard loses control of the basketball, picks it back up, passes over to McCall. Lobbing inside for Johnson, the shot is up, no good, and Chris Shelton with another board. The outlet pass to Ferguson, quickly to Morris. Morris from three, no good, a little bit too hard, rebounded by Pritchard. Pritchard gives the ball to Bowman. Bowman, as we said, the floor general for this team, just cannot get his troops going out there. Brings it across the timeline at the top of the key. Over on the right wing to number 42, McCall. McCall inside to Pritchard and Hensley. No basket is called as the foul was committed before Pritchard went in the air. That's 2 personals on Jason Hensley. And John Battle will take the ball out underneath their own hoop. Pritchard brings it into McCall, excuse me. Over to Bowman. Bowman saving the offense. JC content to set back in his zone. Pass comes over to number 42, McCall, back on the top of the key to Bowman on the left wing to Pritchard. In the corner to number 42, McCall for the 6-footer, no good. The board pulled down by Pendleton. Quickly Hensley with the basketball up. And no good, tipped up and in by Chris Shelton. We don't know if you remember last year or not, but Chris Shelton had his most outstanding game of the season, scoring 41 points up here against the same Trojans. Pritchard back to Bowman. Bowman across the timeline. Morris comes out to meet Gibson. Gibson back to Bowman. Bowman, as there is no movement whatsoever by the John Battle offense. Finally, they begin their motion. McCall passes to Gibson. Gibson working against Pendleton. Over to number 42, McCall. McCall drives, shoots, blocked again by Shelton, rebounded by Pritchard. Pritchard gives back to Bowman. As Chris Shelton is just daring the Trojans to come on the inside. Bowman at the top of the key, working over to the left wing to number 30, Pritchard. Pritchard, guarded by Hensley. Passes for number 10, Gibson. Almost on the way by Pendleton. The shot is up and good by Gibson. Ferguson inbounds to Hensley. Quickly to Morris. Morris will be double teamed in the corner. Gets the ball back out on top to Hensley from 3. No good. Rebound comes down to number 10, Gibson. Gate City up by 14, 21-7 as Bowman brings it up against the pressure, passes over to Gibson. Gibson back to Bowman. Bowman at the top of the key. He's just going to walk it back out toward the middle of the circle. Passes over on the right wing to number 42, McCall, looking inside. Back out on top to Gibson. Tony Bellamy getting ready to check into the game for Gate City. The shot is up, no good. Pendleton comes down with the basketball. Quickly up to Ferguson, and the pass goes there. A little bit too much mustard on the ball that time. As Pendleton, as Ferguson will have a seat, and Tony the Terminator Bellamy comes in. B.J. Grinzel labeled Tony with the Terminator, so that's what we're going to call him from here on. Number 10, Gibson, with the basketball. On the right wing, he will work it out to the top of the key, hand back to Bowman. Bowman, guarded by Bellamy. McCall working against Morris, passes to Johnson over to Gibson. Nice pass inside by Bowman. The shot is up, no good. Johnson with the rebound, goes back up and converts the 2. Gate City now up 21-9. Hensley working the basketball for Gate City. 4 minutes exactly remaining here in the first half at John Battle. Hensley lobs in for Shelton. Shelton with one hand grabs the ball, puts it up and in. As Chris Shelton having a good first half here. Bowman working against Bellamy. Breaks the press, across the timeline, has an open lane, drives, and it is blocked by Chris Shelton. And a foul called, and the Gate City crowd really agonized over that one. They thought that Shelton had his hand on top of the basketball, and it looked like from our vantage point that he did also. Anyway, Shelton will pick up his first foul with a beautiful block that time. Number 12, Bowman, will be at the line shooting 2. Shot is good by Bowman. Ferguson will relieve Pendleton as Rusty really doing a fine job here in the first half, gets a well-deserved breather. Bowman eyes the mark. Pops good for Bowman. Bellamy inbounds the ball to Ferguson. Ferguson across the timeline, working it over to the right side to Hensley. Hensley cross-court pass to Morris from 3. Give it to him. Moose Morris from 3-point range. Bowman with the basketball. John Battle really being patient with the basketball. They cannot afford to get in a run-and-gun game with the Blue Devils. The ball comes across to Johnson, and Johnson's foot was on the line. Gate City's basketball. As Gate City asking for a timeout and will receive one. So with a timeout call with 3:13 remaining in the first half, you're watching Blue Devil basketball right here on Scott County's own TV 30. The first half of action, Gate City up by a considerable margin by 15 points, 26-11. Gate City they're just controlling the game. That's all you can say. Everything seems to be going right for Gate City tonight, and John Battle just can't buy a hoop. Hensley in the corner for Ferguson. Lobs in for Shelton. Shelton muscles in, shoots. No shot. Jump ball. As Coach Dave Mason fell in the floor on that call, laughing his head off. Folks, you had to be here to appreciate that. Morris brings it in to Hensley. Hensley back on top to Ferguson in the corner for Morris. Morris shoots. No good. The rebound pulled down by Pritchard. Number 12, Bowman will bring it across the timeline. At the top of the key, nice behind the back dribble that time by the young man. Pritchard on the left wing to the foul line. Gibson over to Bowman on the right wing. Back on top to McCall. As Gibson drives, shoots, blocked from behind by Bellamy. And a foul will be called on Gibson. Once you go past Tony Bellamy, you think you've got smooth riding, but as soon as you turn around, the young man's right there to put it back in your face, as he did that time. triggers it into Ferguson. Gate City can go up now by 17, or possibly 18. Hensley to Ferguson from 3. Ferguson does not capitalize. Bellamy with a rebound, back up, and giving the 2. And the Terminator, Tony Bellamy, will go to the line to try to convert a 3-point play. Bellamy at the line, eyes the mark. Hops, bottom, Tony Bellamy. 18 points the lead now. Gate C up 29-11. Bowman working against Ferguson. As Gate C playing some good defense, Pritchard brings it across the timeline. Pass is stolen away. Shelton comes up with it, gives to Moose Morris. Morris across the timeline. Pulls up from the 3-point line. Good. Give it to Kevin Moose Morris. 32-11 the score now as Morris has hit 3 3-pointers. Pritchard back over to Bowman. Back to Pritchard. Back to Bowman once again. Pass inside. Pass to McCall up. No good. The rebound pulled down by Johnson up. And in for 2. 1:36 remaining here in the first half. Gate C up 32-13. Ferguson brings it across the timeline to Morris outside the 3. He's going to pop it again. Bang! As the Moose lights up the scoreboard. Number 30, Pritchard. Back over to Bowman, back to Pritchard. Pritchard works it up. Passes across the timeline to McCall. Double team, finds Gibson. Gibson for Johnson. Johnson goes up and in for 2. Bellamy inbounds to Ferguson. Quickly up to Hensley. Hensley passes back to Shelton. Shelton to Ferguson from 3. No good. The ball is tipped, picked up by Hensley. Hensley goes up for the shot. Up. No good. Pulled down by Pritchard. Pritchard gives to Bowman. 35-15 the score. Gate C up by 20. Bowman brings the ball across the timeline. Passes for McCall. McCall on top to Gibson on the left wing to Bowman. Back to Pritchard at the top of the key. Passes for Gibson. Gibson drives, pops. Give Gibson to Ferguson. Into Hensley. Quickly for Morris. Morris drives, shoots. Good. The lead now 20 again. 37-17. 7 seconds remain in the half. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and at the buzzer, the bucket is no good. So at the end of the first half, Gate C will go into the locker room with a 20-point lead, 37-17. We will take a 1-minute return to John S. Battle High School. You're watching Scott County Cablevision TV 30. And we're back here at John Battle. We're at halftime. Our Gate City Blue Devils with a 20-point lead, 37-17. Some stats for you. Kevin Moose Morris with 20 points in the first half. Shelton with 10. Hensley contributed 2. Pendleton with 2. And Bellamy with 3. And for John Battle, 3 people in the scoring column. That is Johnson with 9, Bowman with 4, and Gibson with 4. Not very much offense whatsoever coming from the Trojans. As far as rebounding goes in the first half, Shelton had 7, Pendleton with 5, Hensley with 2, Bellamy, Ferguson, and Morris each had 1. For John Battle, Pritchard had 4 and Johnson was 4. We're about set for action here at the gymnasium from John Battle High School as number 30, Pritchard, brings the ball into Bowman. Bowman across the timeline, Gate City, in it appeared to be a man-to-man. I guess that's what they're working on defense now. Bowman passes over to Gibson, back to Bowman. And indeed, Gate City will go with a man-to-man. Pritchard, guarded closely by Hensley. Looks inside, nowhere to go. Passes to Johnson. Johnson back on top to Bowman. Bowman working against Ferguson. Bowman passes on the right wing to number 22. That's Puckett, who just checked into the game. Or excuse me, Lovins. Gibson lobs inside for number 12. Swatted away by Chris Shelton. Ferguson bringing it the other way. Passes over to Hensley. Hensley at the top of the key. Inside the Pendleton wide open up and in for two. 39-17. The Blue Devils on a roll. Hensley working against Pritchard. The pass is stolen away by Morris. Up and in for two more. So Gage City coming out early in the second half and dominating the game. Pritchard working against number 32 Hensley. Passes back to Bowman. Bowman bounce pass to Pritchard. Pritchard finally gets it across the timeline to Gibson. And Gibson will be drawing a foul from number 24 Kevin Morris. First personal on the Moose, who it's good to have back on the floor. We thought he might be out for a couple of weeks, but the young man has worked out and is looking pretty good on the floor tonight. We just hope that he can remain healthy for the rest of the season. Number 12, Bowman, working against Ferguson, passes over to Lovins. Lovins to Johnson at the foul line, passes back to Gibson at the key, top of the key. Bowman has the ball stripped from him by Ferguson, retains the basketball, goes up. No good, the ball is loose and tipped by Pendleton. Finally, Lovins comes up with it, puts it back off the glass and in. 41-19 the score. Gate City up by 22 points. Hensley drives, passes stolen away by Pritchard. Pritchard gives to Bowman, who will bring it across the timeline. Passing on the left wing to Pritchard, guarded closely by Hensley, back to the top of the key to Gibson. Over on the right wing to number 12, Bowman, over to Lovins at the top of the key. John Battle moving the ball real well here. As Pritchard at the top of the key passes on the right wing to Lovins, swapped inside, stolen away by Pendleton. Quickly out for Morris. Morris runs down to lose basketball, takes it up, and the ball is knocked out of bounds to Gate City. We have a timeout called by an official. He is calling for a towel. I believe that one of the kids down on the floor spilled a drink or something, and the official didn't want to have no one get hurt. Gate City in this contest has just dominated John Battle from the beginning of the contest. It has not even been a close game, to say the least. We want to remind everyone that this coming Tuesday, January 19th, the Virginia High Bearcats will become calling at the Devil's Den to encounter our Blue Devil squad in another Highland District game, excuse me. Want to encourage each and every one of you Big Blue fans to get out and support your Blue Devils. I'm telling you now, our Blue Devils this year, this is the best team that I can remember in a long time. These boys are rated number 3 in the state, 10-0 overall. Shelton with the basketball up and in. Two more for Shelton. Bowman working against Ferguson. Passes over to Pritchard. Pritchard double team back to Bowman. Up to number 10 Gibson, who gets it across to Lovins. Lovins 1-on-2 and Shelton blocks another one. Ferguson comes up with it out to Hensley. Hensley tried to lob pass to Morris, no good. And Moose Morris commits his second personal foul. With 5:01 remaining in the third quarter. It'll be the Trojan basketball underneath the Blue Devils' own goal. Gibson passes back to Bowman. Bowman meets a double team, passes cross court and out of bounds. Tried to get a little bit fancy that time and it didn't work. As Jason Hensley will turn the ball inbounds now for the Blue Devils. Brings it into Arthur Ferguson. To Morris from 3. No good. Shelton with a strong rebound. Saves it back up. And it's on the back of the backboard out of bounds to the Trojans. Pritchard to key the ball inbounds now for the Trojans. Trojans into number 10 Gibson. Back to number 12 Bowman, who breaks the timeline. As Gate City picking up on their defense. Almost thrown away by Morris. Lovins is wide open. Puts the shot out. Swatted again by Chris Shelton. As Shelton has 5 blocks on the night. Pritchard inbounds to number 14 Johnson. Back out to number 22, Lovins. Lovins over to 12, Bowman. And John Battle will set up their offense once again. Pass to Pritchard. Pritchard in the corner to Lovins. The shot is up. Long rebound comes down to the Animal. Gives over to Ferguson quickly to Morris. Morris up with the shot off the backboard and in. 45-19, the Blue Devils in command of this contest. Number 12, Bowman to Pritchard. Pritchard double team, breaks the timeline. He dribbles it in the lane and brings it back out as the Trojans will set up their offense. Bowman on the left wing to number 30, Pritchard, guarded closely by Hensley. Back to Gibson at the top of the key. Lob inside to number 12, Bowman. Bowman works, shoots. No good. Pulled down by Johnson. Johnson's shot is blocked, and Shelton picks up the foul with the body. As Tony Bellamy, number 40, ready to check into the contest now for Gate City. And finally, the officials allow Tony to come into the contest. And he will take the place of Rusty Pendleton. Number 14, Johnson, will be at the line for 2 shots. First one is good. Gary Walden, president of the Gate City Band Boosters, said to remind everyone that the Gate City High School Band will be performing at some of the home games and encourages each and every one to come out. Bellamy picks up the rebound, passes out to Hensley. Hensley with Morris. Behind the back pass, no good. As number 12, Bowman, comes up the court the other way for John Battle. He will slow it up and give his team enough time to retreat. Gate City up by 25, 45-20. And Bowman working against Ferguson. Passes over on the left wing to Pritchard. Pritchard gives back to Gibson, guarded closely by Bellamy. Pass comes out to number 12. Inside to Johnson. Johnson's turnaround jump shot in and out, rebounded by Tony Bellamy. Quickly to Morris. Morris with a 2-on-3 break. Some Razzmatazz out there, comes up with the basketball, passes back to Bellamy, stolen by Lovins. It's a 2-on-3 break for John Battle as Lovins does the smart thing and holds it up. Number 12, Bowman, working the basketball for John Battle. 2:20 remaining in the third quarter of action here from Bristol, Virginia. Number 22, Lovins, back to Gibson at the foul line, lobbing inside for Bowman, blocked away by Shelton. And we have a whistle and a foul called on Chris Shelton, his third personal. Number 42, McCall, and number 44, that is Blankenship, checking into the contest now for the Trojans, along with number 24, Moore. So John Battle getting 3 fresh bodies in there, hoping to hit the boards a little bit more effectively here in this game. Bowman's shot is up and in and out for the young man. One more shot coming up. Shot is up, in for Bowman. McDavid and Pendleton into the game now for Gate City to replace Shelton and Hensley, as a nice hand is given to Chris Shelton and Jason Hensley, who played a fine game to this point. McDavid back to Ferguson. Ferguson brings the basketball across the timeline, passes for Morris. Morris puts the shot up, blocked from behind and picked up by number 24, Moore. Number 12, Bowman, will bring the ball up court now for John Battle. Working against Ferguson. Passes to Gibson. Gibson's turnaround jumper is off the glass and in. Basketball comes up to Ferguson across the timeline. Ferguson drives, passes inside for Bellamy, up and in for 2. As number 24, Moore, will bring the ball into Bowman. Bowman up to Gibson. Gibson looking for some help, finds number 44, Blankenship. McDavid all over Blankenship. Double team on Gibson, finds Bowman. Bowman drives, passes off to Blankenship, up and in. 47-25 the score. 1:05 remaining third quarter. Morris pulls up. No, he passes off to Ferguson up and in for two. Beautiful feed there from Kevin Morris to Arthur Ferguson, who laid the ball off the glass and in. Number 24, Moore, brings it up the court for John Bow, passes over to Bowman. Across the timeline to McCall. McCall back on top to number 12, Bowman. Bowman to McCall on the right wing, guarded by Morris. On top to Gibson, inside to number 12, Bowman. Bowman dribbles it out, passes back top to Keaton Morrow, quickly over to Gibson on the right wing. McCall at the foul line, passes to Moore, shot is up, no good. Bowman gets the rebound, puts it back up and in for two. Gate City up 49-27. 12 seconds remain in the quarter. Morris to Ferguson, over to Morris. Morris for three. No good. Rebound comes down to Bellamy. Back up. No good. The tip is done. No good. So at the end of 3/4 of complete play, Gate City on top by 22, 49-27. You're watching Scott County Cablevision TV 30. And we're back here at John S. Battle going into the fourth quarter. Gate City up by commanding 22-point lead. Ferguson triggers the ball into Hensley to begin the fourth period. Hensley lobbing in for Pendleton, stolen away by number 30, Pritchard. Pritchard hands the ball to Bowman, back to Pritchard. John Battle will have to use the three-point line if they are to get back into this contest. Pritchard inside to number 44, Blankenship against Shelton. The shot is up, no good. Ball is loose and run down by Pritchard. Nice hustle there by the young man. Passes back to Bowman, guarded closely by Morris. Bowman drives, shoots, in and out. The ball is loose, picked up by Pritchard. The shot goes up, blocked by Shelton. Another block for the Animal. Hensley quickly up court to the other way for Gate City. One-handed shot up, no good. The ball is picked up by Bowman. Number 12, Bowman across the timeline, guarded closely by Morris. In the corner for Pritchard. Pritchard looking for Gibson, finds him. Shot up from Gibson is short. Rebound is pulled down by Ferguson. 4-on-1 breakaway. Morris with the basketball. Up, blocked away from behind by Gibson. And we have a technical call on Dave Mason as he come flying off the bench. Thought there should have been a foul call. The Gate City fans supporting Coach Mason. But any way you look at it, the John Bow player will be at the line shooting a two-shot technical. Pritchard will be taking a shot. Shot is up and good. That brings the lead to 21, 49-28. Second shot by Pritchard is up and good. And John Bow will have the ball on the side. 20-point lead for Gate City. Number 30, Pritchard, will trigger the ball inbounds. Lobs in for Bowman. Bowman guarded closely by Morris. Across the timeline to Gibson. Gibson back to Bowman. In the corner to Pritchard. Pritchard from three. No good. Rebound comes down to McCall. Stolen away by Morris. And Morris was on the in-line, out of bounds to John Battle. Pritchard triggers the ball into McCall. McCall, nowhere to go. Passes for number 10, Gibson, in and out, rebounded by Shelton. Passes to Hensley. Hensley slows up, sets up the offense now for Gate City. Passes to Ferguson. Ferguson to Morris. Morris from three. Bottom. Kevin Moose Morris. The ball comes inbounds to number 10, Gibson. Gibson cross to Blankenship for Pritchard. Pritchard. And that is going to be a charge on Pritchard. Gate City's basketball. 52-29 to score. Gate City up by a mile. Ball comes to Morris outside the three-point line. He's going to put another one up. No good this time. Rebound pulled down by Gibson. Gibson Passes to number 12, Bowman, across to Pritchard. Pritchard from 3. Good. Ferguson brings it into Hensley. Hensley will bring it across the timeline for Gate City. Passes from Morris. Morris lobs inside for Shelton. Shelton up. No good. Gets his own rebound, puts it back up, and in. Count the bucket. And Chris Shelton will go to the line for a 3-point opportunity. The lead is 22. Can be 23 if the Animal converts here. Chris Shelton with 14 points on the night and a bunch of rebounds and block shots. And we have a timeout call taken by John Battle. And while we have a timeout, we're going to take a 1-minute break. You're watching Blue Basketball. Point play. Shelton Eisenmark shoots off the front rebound. Rebound comes down to Pendleton, out of bounds to John Battle. Shelton has 14 points on the night, 10 rebounds, 6 block shots. And Kevin Morris off the injury list with 27 points. Morris tips the ball loose. Ferguson runs it down. Hensley with the basketball. Lobs inside. Out of bounds to John Battle. Has some confusion inside there between Morris and Shelton. Pritchard brings it in to Gibson. Gacy going to a tenacious full-court defense. Number 42, McCall with a basketball blocked by Shelton. And they're going to call a foul on Shelton. Where did he get him at? Shelton, he gets a little chuckle out of it. That's 4 personals on Chris Shelton. And they're giving them the bucket, saying it was a goaltend also. Well, what a change of pace this was. The lead is 20 now. As Coach Dave Mason sends in 5 new players into the contest. Sends in McDavid, Spivey, Bellamy, Collins, and Potts. Nice hand for the starters. .5:14 remaining in the contest as McCall at the line to shoot the 3-point attempt, no good, pulled down by McDavid. McDavid pushing it the other way for the Blue Devils. Passes to Chris Potts. Potts inside to Spivey. Spivey turning around jumper, no good. Collins with a tip, no good. The ball is run down by McDavid. The shot is up, no good. Bellamy on the rebound, back up and in. As the second team doing it for Gate City. Bowman across the timeline, passes inside to number 10, and they are going to get McDavid on the foul. 2 shots coming up for number 10, Teddy Gibson. Gibson's shot is up and good. Second shot is up and no good. Rebound to McCall. McCall shoots. No good. Rebound put up by Pritchard. No good. Number 44 Blankenship shot is no good. And Spivey finally pulls it down for Gate City. Spivey out to Collins. Collins across the timeline. Working the basketball. And he is tied up. The ball will go over to John Battle. Number 12, Bowman. Brings it across the timeline, guarded closely by Collins. Takes the lane, open, no good. Rebound by Spivey. Spivey gives to McDavid. McDavid across the timeline, passes to Potts. Potts. Long court pass down here, and Potts knocks it out of bounds. Let's see if they're going to call a foul. They will on number 44, Chris Potts. We're sorry for the brief loss of audio there. We hope that you're enjoying coverage of Blue Devil basketball brought to you by our fine sponsors. Number 42 shot is up and good. The lead is 20. Second shot by McCall, no good. The rebound comes down to Blankenship, back up, no good. The ball is loose. Knocked out of bounds to John Battle. Number 30, Pritchard brings it into McCall. Pass into Gibson. Gibson's shot is good. McDavid with the basketball for Gate City. Brings it across the timeline. Passes to Collins. Collins drives, pulls up, shoots. No good. The ball is loose. Picked up by McDavid. Loses control of the basketball. Gibson with the basketball. The shot is no good. Out of bounds to Gate City. Point lead for Gate City, 56-38. 3:25 remaining in the game. Collins passes to Potts. Potts drives, shoots. No good. Spivey with a tip up and in. Pritchard, and the ball is knocked out of bounds by Collins. Pritchard lobs inside for Bowman. Back to Pritchard, guarded closely by Potts. Lobs down to number 42, McCall. Spivey back. As Spivey commits the foul, sending McCall to the line for two. Gate City with a victory here will improve to 11-0, remain number 1 in Southwest Virginia, and should easily maintain their number 3 ranking and possibly move up. Still a long road ahead, though, for the Blue Devils. The shot is up, no good by McCall. The next very important matchup will be against Virginia High this coming Tuesday, January 19th at Gate City. Steve Reed, Kevin Williams, and Gary Watson into the contest now for Gate City as Bellamy, Spivey, and McDavid take a seat. The shot is up and good by McCall. Potts brings the basketball into Kevin Williams. Williams works it across the timeline. The ball is knocked out of bounds by Bowman. Collins to Williams. Williams to Josh Collins. Looking inside, drives, pops. No good. The ball is loose. Picked up by Potts. And we're going to have a foul called in the inside on number 44, Blankenship. Number 22, Lovins, and number 24, Moore checking into the contest, along with number 20, Barry Puckett. Josh Collins will turn the ball in now for Gate City. Brings it into Williams. Williams to Potts. Potts at the top of the key. Over to Collins. Collins thought about the three. Drives. Passes over to Williams. Williams inside to Watson. Off his face. Picked up by Lovins. Quickly out to Puckett. Collins is back. Puckett shot is up. No good. Rebound is picked up by Williams. Williams finds Potts on the breakaway. Potts takes it up. Has the ball slapped from him. And a foul committed by number 34, Leonard, of John Battle. That will put Potts on the line, shooting two. Potts eyes the mark, shoots, good for Chris Potts. 59-39, the lead is 20. Make that 21. Number 34, Leonard, inbounds the ball to Puckett, very closely by Williams. Puckett dribbles across the timeline, passes stolen away by Steve Reed, regained by Puckett. Puckett goes up, blocked by Gary Watson, and Watson got a little bit too much body on Puckett that time. That will send number 20, Barry Puckett, to the line, shooting two. You might remember this young man, he was the